Hi everyone, it's Shams at Mascara, and we are doing the video that I think everybody has been waiting for. This is the sculptured nail using the Maskscara Supreme Foundation. So I'm going to start by taking you through the prep steps because preparation is important. So I'm taking you through exactly how I do my prep. So I'm using the fabulous new Mascara Urea Cuticle Remover. Now, if you know anything about Urea, it's got amazing exfoliating properties, so it helps to lift dry, flaky skin. It's going to boost moisture to that area and as well as reduce dead skin buildup. So this is a fabulous new product. I do suggest getting it. Also, using a cuticle remover really does make cuticle work less aggressive. So apply it to the nail, let it sit for a minute, and as you can see, I'm using my metal pusher and gently pushing back the cuticle. Now, I know some of you may believe that cuticle removers during these types of applications causes lifting, but I assure you, if you are removing it properly, you won't have any little issues at all. So just make sure that you remove your product properly, you have no residue left behind, and you definitely are good to go. So I always use the cuticle removers in my preparation because it just makes life so easy. Right, so I'm going to use mascara cleanser and I'm going to be removing the residue of that remover with my cleanser. Now in this video you're probably going to see me using cleanser quite a lot, and I just generally use cleanser a lot. I am the overuser of cleanser, but I just believe we've got to make sure and be conscious that our nail surface is clean all the time as we're working, so it keeps the surface 100% perfect for bonding. Now I'm going to start by prepping, and what I'm going to do after I've pushed back the cuticle is now file the cuticle area using my Mascara Portable e-file. Now guys, I think I've said it before and you've seen me use this in previous videos. This is the perfect little tool to use for nail preparation. It is not a use file for industrial work, so it's not a heavy use file. It's great for this type of work. So it's gentle enough to do your nail prep without damaging the nail plate. And as you can see, I am actually using the fine point drill bit and I'm going around and even onto the skin. And once I've done that, I'm going to use a white block buff and I'm going to buff the whole surface of the nail. So that's my nail preparation complete. And once you've prepped a nail 100% and you know that you've prepped it properly, you can be assured that you have the perfect surface for bonding. I think that's the most important thing. You want to make sure that your nail prep is 100%. So take your time with your nail prep. Try not to rush it. Just make sure that it's 100%. So after I've prepped, trimmed cuticles, done everything that involves that part of the surface, I'm going to use my cleanser and wipe away all residue of dust. Right, so I've got a perfectly prepped nail now. And then I'm going to use my dehydrate. Now dehydrate corrects the pH on the nail. It's going to remove surface oils from the nail plate, and it also prepares your your nail for perfect bonding. So let me not get ahead of myself here. And then the next thing that I want to chat about is the protein bond. Now, if you have a chronic lifter, you are welcome to use the protein bond, or if you are a nail tech that wants to use it, you can. But remember, with Supreme, protein bond is an option, and I'm not using it in this video because Supreme has amazing retention ability. So I've never really used protein bond in these types of application. The only time I've used protein bond with Supreme is when I do it in my full tip applications. Right, so not getting into too much of that conversation, we're now talking about the form. So I'm giving my form a little bit of a wiggle because I like to have shape in my nail. So if you don't do this, you tend to get a form that is kind of flat. And I'm doing the thumbnail today, guys, and I don't want to have a toenail. So we are going to put a nice shape into our form by giving it that wiggle, and we are then going to apply our to the nail. So what you can also do is the center insert. You can use that on the inside of your form. It just gives you more support when you're going to build your nail. So when you're actually pushing down on the form with a brush, you've got that support, extra support. It's also optional, but it works. Do it and you'll see that your form fits even better. Right, so now I'm going to be sliding my form underneath my free edge, and what I want to do here with this free edge is make sure that I've got a good snug fit. So I don't want to have a gap between the natural nail and the form. And I'm also making sure that once my form is fitted, I'm just going to secure it even more. So I'm going to push tighter on the bottom to get a nice sleek line. And you'll note that my form is running straight with the nail. So your form shouldn't be facing up and it shouldn't be facing down. Otherwise, you're going to have a nail that's pointing up to the ceiling, or a nail that's going to look like a parrot's beak, because it's going to be like hooking towards the floor. So make sure your form is straight. So now I'm using my dehydrate on the surface of my nail. And yes, this is the second time I'm using it, because remember, I've now fitted the form and I've been touching my nail in between while fitting it. So it's my extra sort of cautious self applying more to make sure my surface is clean. So now we are going to apply our Supreme Gel, and I'm only going to be going till kind of the first line of my form. With Supreme, you can't be sculpting mega long nails, okay? It's made for kind of short, medium extension length. If you want to go longer than that, I suggest using the Mascara Builder Gel or using Mascara Infinity. But for this, if you're looking for a cool, sporty length, let's call it a salon style nail, then Supreme is great for that. So I'm going to be starting by doing my first layer, which is my grip layer. So this is just a thin layer of gel which covers the natural nail only. This layer creates a layer of surface for my next application, which is my second coat application. That's the actual structure that we're going to be building. So that's why I always do this first grip layer. I think I did it well. I'm sure you've seen me do it in the first video as well, where we did the structure nail with the Supreme Gel. So it just helps give you a nice sort of grippy layer. So when you put your next little bead down, it stays in place. So that's why we do that first layer, and we're going to cure it for 60 seconds. I haven't added the filming of the curing into this video, but I will note in the video where I've cured. So that layer gets cured for 60 seconds. And now I'm going to start by building my free edge first. So I'm picking up a bead of the gel, so like a nice amount of product. And in the center, just at the free edge, I'm going to be starting, so just about the free edge area, I'm going to be starting on the nail, and I'm going to be dragging that gel down onto the form, using the lines of the form as the guide to where I want my length to be. So remember, we said we're going to that first line. So we're working just up to just maybe a little bit over to where that first line is on the form. And I'm making sure that when I'm building, that I'm pulling the gel towards the side walls, so that I've got product neatly tucked into the side walls. You don't want to have a nail that's built too short, otherwise you're going to have a problem. When you remove your form, you're going to have a whole gap on the one side. So just be aware that you want to have your product neatly built from one side, so it's one side wall all the way over to the other side wall. And how I'm building this is Supreme's pretty easy. It levels out nicely, it doesn't run very fast, so it's user friendly. That gives you a lot of control. And I'm sort of dragging this little tail of gel where I need it to be, so it's pretty easy. And once you've got it in place, you cure for 60 seconds. So I've cured that for 60 seconds, and we're going to remove our form. So just pop your form away and you pull down. So take your form down towards the table. Don't like rip your form up, because you might just rip your whole tip off that you've built. But Supreme's pretty strong, so I doubt it, but you could hurt yourself. So pull your form down. And what you can do here is you can use this opportunity to squeeze in your shape. So I'm just adding a little pressure on the sides to give me more of a C curve. And you can also cure your hand turning it upside down, because this means you can cure underneath your free edge. Because remember, your build of your free edge has been right up against that form. So you want to make sure that the UV light gets everywhere. So you can place your hand in the light once again to cure the underside of your nail for 60 seconds. It's optional, but I did do it because I'm a huge person of making sure things are cured 100%. As we move along, so I suggest when you've cured the top, cure the bottom. Right, so once my nail has been cured, I'm going to use my file and I'm going to start shaping out my free edge. This is just going to make your life easier for the second part of your build. So side walls first. I'm always about the side walls, guys, because I think about side walls. I hate nails that are wide and bulky on the sides. So side walls first, and then you can shape your free edge. I'm also going to shape a little bit on the surface as well, so just going to buff down the surface, not too much. I'm just buffing down the surface slightly and roughening up the surface area so that my next layer is going to adhere to my first layer. So buffing down on the surface, making sure that my free edge is the shape that I want it to be, and making sure that my sidewalls are nice and neat. Once I've got all that filing in place, I'm going to use my cleanser once again, and I'm going to remove all the dust because we're going to be starting with the second part of the application. Right, so now comes layer number 2. So this is your foundation structure build. You're going to pick up a nice amount of product once again, and we are going to be applying this at the cuticle area and working our way around the cuticle area and down the nail. So in my video that I did with the foundation application, I go in detail to the best of my ability about how to overlay that product onto the nail, and we're using exactly the same technique. We're rubbing it down in little circular motions and then manipulating the gel from one side of our nail over to the other side. So dragging that little tail from the one side of the nail to the other side of the nail. It's so easy to do this. I love working with the Supreme, and it gives you such a neat finish. And as you're working down, as you get into the free edge, you can lightly just brush off so that you don't have too much bulk sitting at the free edge of your nail. And remember, this is a fairly short nail, so you want to be cautious of the amount so that you don't end up with a big jelly bean nail. So I don't think anybody wants a jelly bean nail. So we just want to make sure our free edge is nice and neat and nice and thin. And we want to make sure that we have our structures in the correct place. So I'm turning my nail upside down. That's going to draw my product back to the center of the nail. And now using my liner brush, which I always have handy with these applications, I'm going to guide my gel down into my sidewalls to make sure that I've got those areas 100% covered so that there's no gaps. Because sometimes you cure and you take it out and then you see, oh, there's a gap. So the liner gel helps with that, or your liner brush helps with that. And then I'm also pulling the gel back a little bit and taking it back up to that apex area so that it gives me that final shape, and I just have like everything in the right position. So your structure is sound and in place and everything is where it should be, and you just have a whole neat application when you're done. So doing this also is going to help lessen your end work. Because sometimes if you put way too much product on, you have to use your file to thin it out a little bit in the end, and it can cut into your time. So if you can practice this technique and you do it this way, you actually eliminate that whole filing process in the end. So we've cured that, guys, for 60 seconds, and that's our structure of our nail in place. I mean, how pretty is that? Using my cleanser, I'm just going to give it a wipe off. And if you have no waviness, no lumps, no bumps, or anything that you see needs the help of a file, because if you do have it, now is the time to file it, you can go in with your top coat to seal it. So I just want to make sure, once again, that my sidewalls is taken down nicely and I don't have any bulky buildup in that area. And then I'm going to make sure that I start finishing off my nail exactly how I want it to be. So just onto my free edge area, just to make sure that I've neatened up my shape of my nail. And then once I'm happy with my filing on the sides and at the free edge, I don't feel there's any necessity to go over the surface because I've got that pretty smooth in this application. But I'm going to give it a once over with my soft white block, just to smooth off the area, just in case, you know, because you never know. Sometimes when you paint your color, you see your little flaw. So just a once over very, very lightly with your block buff, so it's like no serious filing happening here. And then we're going to wipe with cleanser. Yes, I told you I use cleanser quite a bit, guys. And then we're going to seal this with our top coat. And I am going to be using my favorite top coat. I think you guys should know it by now. I love the carbon top coat. So I'm going to be sealing it with my carbon top coat and making sure that I've got a nice glossy layer over my foundation gel, and that's going to be the end step of the whole application. So there we go, applying my glossy carbon top coat, which also has stain resistant properties in it. So I guess that's why I like it the most, because it just stays so shiny and it's got the optical brightness in it, so it keeps your color looking all fresh and fantastic as you're wearing it over the next couple of weeks. I'm also just going to make sure that I seal my free edge off, and I'm going to cure that for 60 seconds. And then I'm going to apply my favorite oil called Charm. They should have put an S on the end for charms, but yes, I'm going to apply my Charm cuticle oil. It smells amazing, absolutely divine, smells like me. It's yummy like me. So get yourself that oil, and then I'm going to massage that in just to make sure that the skin is well moisturized, because as you know, I've been going crazy with the cleanser. But you do always want to use an oil after you have applied a product, and always make sure you retail, sell an oil to your customer, guys, really. Okay, and that's it. I think that looks stunning. It's a nice short sporty length nail. It's not too bulky. I think your customer is going to love that look, and let me tell you something, it's strong, guys. So it's a strong build, good bond, good structure, looks so natural, that color looks perfect. So I hope you enjoyed this video.